going to go ahead and start off by just introducing what we're going to be covering. Our custom development webinar this morning, we're going to be covering two topics. The first one will be how to create an expert from system test results. And the second will be how to avoid duplicate signals in an expert. Let's go ahead and bring up the MetaStock screen here. I'm just going to maximize it so we can see the full screen. And we'll go into the Power Console. This is MetaStock Professional 12, our latest version. It's going to go here into the system tester here. And we're gonna use the Equus RSI 7030 with optimization system for our demonstration. Now this system, right, you can see it under the description over there on the right. This system buys long when OPT1 period relative strength index crosses above 30. It sells short when OPT1 period relative strength index crosses below 70. Now, if you're not familiar with optimization, have a definition. Basically, optimization in the context that we're using is varying the parameters of a system to find the optimal. So what this system is doing is, instead of using the traditional 14 periods in the relative strength index indicator, the system tester is going to plug in different values for that number of periods to find a value that generates the highest profit. So we're just going to go ahead and click Next. And we have several stocks here. Let's just do applied materials. We're going to trade both long and short. We're going to look at the last 1,250 periods of daily data. That's going to be about 5 years. Oh, and if you're having any questions, we will cover those at the end of our demonstration. Okay, I'm just going to click the trade options, and I think we'll do a points only test. Points only test measures performance strictly in terms of point changes. Click OK on that, and then we'll go ahead and start the test. Down here in the corner, you see the status screen, and we're finished. So I'm going to click View Results. Okay, let's see, that did not turn out well. So every single one of them is a loser. So at least we know from that this particular trading system doesn't work well on applied materials. So let's maybe go and see if we can find another stock that it will work well on. Let's try maybe some more, adding some more time. Let's maybe do 2,000 periods. So we're going to test the system over 2,000 days. Now, and we have the same results there. We're just going to check something. Okay, we'll just see if we can find a stock here that will show us some profit. And we'll try the let's try the spiders. And let's maybe try the diamonds. And we'll try a QQQ also. Okay, I think we see the problem here is we have 7-point commissions set there. So we're just going to set those to 0. Okay, we're getting a little bit better results now. There we go, that's better. Now, on the summary screen here, we have several bits of information. We have our total profit. We have our average net profit. We have average percent gain, which is not measured on a points-only test. We have the average number of trades, and we have average trade profit, and the average profit loss. This is the average profit, average loss ratio. But the two bits of information that we are most interested in are obviously total profit, and down here we have, I'm just going to sort the list just to put that up to the highest. So test ID 5 showed a total profit of 147.12 points over the time period that we tested. Now, that was over 3 trades, which is not a very large number of trades. It's kind of a small number of trades over that long span of time, but they are nonetheless profitable, and so we like those results. And then if I go over here to column OPT1, it's telling me what the OPT1 values are. And we can see that the one that generated the highest profit was 24. So if we're going to trade the RSI for this particular time span and this particular security, then we're going to, instead of using the traditional 24 periods, we're going to, the traditional 14 periods, we're going to use 24. Now I can select these results and I can click View to get more information. And this is going to show me a breakdown of how it performed over the 3 securities that we tested. And looks like we didn't pull any data in for the Qs. I must have entered the wrong ticker symbol. I apologize for that. But on the spiders, we're getting a profit of 106.9. So I'm just going to go ahead and plot those to the chart of the spiders. That opens up behind the system tester screen. So I'm just going to close that out. Just kind of clean this up a little bit. We can see where the trades occurred that gained us the points that we made. Now up here is the equity line from the simulation, and you can see starting here that it was at 0. We had kind of a small loss for the first trade. And then we gradually started to gain. And it just kind of varied over this time span until looks like most of it came from this last position where it kind of did its largest move up. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create an expert with RSI and using 24 periods. So I'm just going to go into the expert advisor, and we're going to go down to the Equus Relative Strength Index. And rather than create a new expert, sorry, we're just going to go ahead and create a new one from scratch. So I'm going to click New, and I'm going to name it RSI 24 for SPY. Because these results are optimized for the security SPY, then this expert is created specifically for it. Now, what we'll do is we'll create some new symbols. Symbols are buy, sell arrows, thumbs up, thumbs down, and so forth. So we'll just go ahead and click New to bring up our first expert symbol editor. And then we'll put, we could call it buy, or I'm going to call it long. And for now, I'm going to click OK and then OK. And I could write the formula from scratch or from the function table, but what I'm going to do to make it just a little easier is go into the system tester and I'm just going to copy the formula. So I'll highlight that, I'll copy it, And then we'll paste that in. Now we've copied the OPT1 parameter, and we know from the report that that's OPT1 value is 24, so I'm just going to plug that in. And that's really all that needs to be done for this particular symbol or graphic. So we'll click the graphic tab to choose a graphic. I like to use a by arrow. So I'm going to scroll down and select by arrow. And I'm going to go with the default color of green and the default symbol position, which is below price plot, and the default label position, which is below the symbol. I'm just going to label it long. Could also use by if you prefer that term. So now we've created our long by arrow signal. So then we'll just click New to create one for exiting the long position and then going short. So we're just going to call this one short. And I'm going to copy the formula from the buy or the long parameter, and then we'll make some modifications to it so that it will be a signal for going short. So we're going to go ahead and change OPT1 to 24, and then we got to change I'm going to put 70 here in the beginning of the cross function, and this will now be our formula for exiting the long position and then selling short. We'll go ahead and choose a graphic for that. I'm going to go ahead and use the cell arrow and change the color to red. And we'll go ahead and click OK. Before we attach the expert, we want to just go back to the system tester and review the sell short formula so you can see that. Under sell order, we have cross 70, RSI OPT1, which is identical to the sell short order. Remember, OPT1 we changed to 24 in the expert. So we'll just go ahead and cancel that. Okay, before I attach the expert, I'm going to remove the, well, I guess I should leave them. I'm going to leave the symbols from the simulation. I'm just right-clicking the chart, going to Expert Advisor, and then Attach. And there it is, the RSI 24 for SPY, SPY. I'm just going to click OK. Oops, looks like we got the cell arrows in coming down below the price plot. So I'm going to just quickly edit the expert and okay, we want to put those above. We'll go ahead and label that short, and we'll make that small. I'm just going to reduce the size of the arrows so they're a little bit less cluttery. Okay, to clean up the chart a little bit, I'm going to close the equity line inner window. And I'm going to remove the results of the system. And the way I can easily do that is just go to Edit and then Delete All and choose Symbols. Click OK. So now we have just the signals from the expert. So now we have an expert based on 14 periods on the RSI, and I'm just kind of quickly scanning the chart back a little bit to see where some of them are. Here's some short signals, here's a long signal. Now you can see that we have a long signal here, and then we have our short signal, which we would have exited the long position, and we are now entering the short position. And then we have several subsequent short signals. Depending on your trading proclivities, if you wanted to add to this short position, you could do that. But I think that we might see a better opportunity to exit that and take the long positions. So what we're going to, this kind of leads into our second topic, which is how can we eliminate all these duplicate short signals? And the way we do that is we have to make some modifications to the formula. So I'm going to go ahead and right-click the chart, go to Expert Advisor, and then Expert Properties. We'll start with the long signal. So I'll edit that. And this signal is basically just every time the RSI crosses, the 24-period RSI crosses signal, we're getting, every time the 24-period RSI crosses 30, we're getting the long signal. And every time the RSI crosses below 70, we're getting the short signal. I'm just going to go ahead and plot the indicator to kind of give us a little bit more visual help as to what we're seeing. So we'll go to Relative Strength Index and change the default period to 24. And you can see up here, it's crossing above 70 and back below several times, and that's causing these short signals. Okay, so I'm going to put the formula that we're going to use to change or to eliminate these short signals so that we see just a long signal and then a short signal and then a long signal and so forth. Okay, thank you for your patience there. We've got the graphic on the screen showing the syntax of how to eliminate duplicate trading signals. Now, let me just do a quick overview of what we're seeing here. The BC : $, and the SC : $, are formula variables. So in other words, we just use the letters BC to name them, and then to make that a variable, you use the : and then we would put our buy condition here. Same for the sell condition. We would put SC : and then we would write out the formula for our sell condition. And then we create a new variable called trade, and we're using an if statement, and it's basically saying if we have the buy condition true, then plot a buy signal. If it's false, then check to see if the sell condition is true. If it's not true, then plot nothing. Then the last parameter that we have in this expression is what we call the pre-function, which means that if this condition is not true, then we just retain the last value of the expression. If you have questions about that, we will be happy to go over them later, or you're more than welcome to send us an email. And then the next expression is we're using a cross function, and we're just taking the trade variable and checking if it's crossing a level of 0.5, which means that we're just checking to see if the trade expression shown here is changing from false to true, and if it is, then we're either going to be getting, well, in this case, we would be getting a buy condition. If we use this lower one, cross, and then 0.5, and then the expression trade, that will tell us if we're getting a sell condition. So what I'm going to do is I need to just change the screen to show the MetaStock screen here. Now we're back on our MetaStock screen here. We'll go ahead and edit the expert. So I'm going to create the variable of buy condition. Now in this particular situation, we need to have both the buy condition formula variable and the sell condition formula variable. So we're just going to go ahead and put both of them in here. And I'm just doing this from memory. We're crossing 70, RSI 24. Just going to clean this up a little bit. Take these spaces out. Oops. So now we have our buy condition variable and our sell condition variable set. And we'll just one more time bring this out to the view. And we'll set up our trade. Variable. Excuse me, I have one extra value in there, so we'll take that out. And we'll do our previous. And I'm sorry, in the graphic, it does not show the semicolon at the end of the trade variable. Just note that you need to have the semicolon at the end, so I'm going to go ahead and add that. And then we'll go ahead and we'll do cross. And since this is our buy condition, and then, so there I have the complete formula for the long entered in. And just to make things a little easier, we're going to just copy this over to the short or exiting long formula. Because both formulas need to have both the buy condition and the sell condition. The only difference in this one is that we're going to just switch around the parameters in the cross function. Again, that cross function is just checking the condition changing from true to false or false to true. And we'll click OK. And then we'll go ahead and click OK on the expert editor. And now you can see that we have we'll just kind of scroll back here. We have our first long signal there, and then our short, and then our next long, and that position is still open and continuing to make profit. So that's really all the process for creating a formula or a system or an expert that has one signal that follows the corresponding opposite signal. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and take any questions you have at this time.
Okay, this is William. I'm going to speak up on the prev. The prev is a special variable when it is put into any formula statement, it retains or rather it takes the value that the statement had on the previous bar it was calculated on. So when used in that if statement, the first if checks to see if its condition was true. If it is, it assigns a value. In this case, we used 1. The second one, the cell condition checks. If it's true, it assigns a value of 0. And if it's false, then the default's down the prev, which says we're just going to retain the value that we had on the previous bar. So it functions as a holdover. This is one way prev can be used. It has other uses that get a little bit more elaborate, but for our purposes, this is all that was needed.
That was in response to Peter's question about the previous function. We have a question from David wondering if we can just email the formula. We can certainly do that. From Lance, the OPT1 was not an average of all the stocks. It was the optimization numbers were applied individually to each stock. Russell Thompson asking if there will be a recording. There will be. And from TZ Trader, what is the 0.5? Again, that's we're looking at this variable trade. This expression trade, this variable trade expression, will always be in a state of 1 or 0. If it, depending on how it's using the buy and sell conditions, if it is in a state of 1, we have a buy condition. If it's in a state of 0, we have a sell condition. And the 0.5 is just because it's halfway in between 0 and 1, it just allows us to check the change from 0 to 1. It's crossing, checking to see if trade, when trade crosses above 0.5, it's on its way from being the sell condition to a buy condition, and vice versa. From Danny KWL, is it able to create condition in 2 different time frames? For example, RSI crossing in 15 minutes and RSI same condition in 15 minutes. This formula is not set up to do that. We will be covering how to do that in a later webinar. And you are welcome to send an email to formulas@metastock.com, and we can answer that question there. Muhammad, after creating the expert advisor, how do you make it executable? Well, in this case, we already had the expert. After creating the expert, I'll just really quick here show you. If I was creating a new expert, let's get that. Okay, we're back on the MetaStock screen here. But when I click new, I get a new expert editor, and we'll just call it test. And let's assume that I write some formulas and symbols, and when I'm all finished, I click OK. To apply that expert, I just have to click attach, and then it will attach to the current selected chart. Okay, in the simulation results, it said there were errors. Let's maybe just go back in and take a look. Okay, we're not sure what happened to the results of the simulation, but the had errors came from the when I entered the symbol for the Qs. Apparently, I entered it incorrectly, and so it wasn't able to load data for that, and that's what the had errors indication came from. Russell, yes, we can provide the step-by-step instructions. The syntax that we are showing on the screen here is this is not already in MetaStock in really any form that you can just pull it up. There's a similar syntax to this in the performance experts. We'll just take a look at one of those really quick here. Okay, I'm just going to look at the PS adaptive moving average. We'll edit that. And if you scroll down, notice it's a little bit different. The creator of the performance systems just used A and B. I mean, these would be comparable to our buy condition and sell condition, and instead of using trade, he used state as his formula variable name, and he uses a similar if statement. This is a little bit more complex than we can probably go into very deeply now. We just have a couple of minutes left, but you are more than welcome to drop us an email about these. Again, the address is formulas@metastock.com. Okay, from Peter. From the chart, how do you go back to the stat page after creating an expert? Oh, to go back to the system results, you basically would just go, let me go ahead and show the screen again. You would go back into the system tester. Going to go ahead and choose. Here's results from the Equus Stochastic 2080. Just click Report and then View. Okay, yes, we have another question about will the recording be available? Yes, there will be. Usually we put that up within a couple of days of the webinar, so it should be available before the end of the week. Do we have any other questions? We have just a few more minutes. Several thank yous. You're welcome. We're glad that we can help you all out with this. I have a question from David on the RMO. Wanting to know if you can add the condition that if RMO is greater than 1, you could you could use the FML function for the RMO indicator in an expert and set that greater to 1. Maybe we can just show you really quick. Let's see. I'll just go ahead to symbols here, and then I'll click New. Call this one Test 1. I'll click in the Condition field, and that will activate the Functions button. And since the RMO is a custom indicator, then we'll just go to the Custom Indicators category. All right, and then I just typed in RM, and then the list jumped down to Rahul Mohinder Oscillator. I just double click that, and then we'll paste that into the editor. And then we'll just set that greater than 1, and then I'll hit OK. So anytime the RMO indicator is greater than 1, then you'll get a true condition for that. A question from Brian, can you create arrays? Unfortunately, the answer to that is no. We have to go ahead and end it here. We want to thank everybody for joining us, and any more questions that you have, please send them to formulas@metastock.com, and we will be happy to answer them there. So again, we just want to thank you all for your time, and we hope that this was all helpful for you.